have a process video for you today using my Rio Click Kit. And for this layout, what I did was I just pulled out the products in the kit from Cocoa Vanilla Studios Color Me Happy line. So I have the 3 papers that were included in the kits, and I also have the cut apart sheets that were an add-on. So I'm going to use these 3 papers, and I'm going to start with the back side of these papers. So each of these papers, not the polka dots, but the 2 florals. Every paper in this line has these really nice black and white patterns on them. So there's a color on one side and black and white on the other. And I'm going to use these 2 floral black and white patterns, and I'm just going to watercolor some of the images on the patterns. So this layout, you can find more information along with 2 other layouts on my blog. This is one of 3 layouts I created for the Click Kits blog hop, which starts today and goes till Sunday. And by commenting along the way, you have the opportunity to win a Rio kit for yourself. So I'm using my Kuretake watercolors here, and I'm just blending or practicing on a piece of scratch paper. I want to get colors as close to that pinky orangey color as I can. So I'm going to use the pink and orange colors in my Kuretake watercolors, and I'm going to kind of blend them together onto that piece of acetate. And I'm just going to clean my brush in between on that paper towel, and I'm going to go ahead and color in once I get the color right. So I want the color to be as close to that pinky color as I can get. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to watercolor some of these flowers. So I'm going to use 2 different techniques for each of these swatches of paper. So I chose 5 floral clusters from each black and white pattern. The smaller pattern I just watercolored, just like you saw me do here. Now for this larger floral pattern, I'm going to use a ton of water. So I'm going to put a lot of water on my paper. And this first kind of coat is almost all water. So whereas on the smaller flowers, I started with pigment on dry paper. For these flowers, I'm going to start with pigment on water paper. On water. So I'm going to put water down first, and then I'm going to put the pigments on, and I'm really going to let them just blend together. You can see here as I do this to get an idea of what I mean in doing this. So there's already water on the flowers, so water first and then the color, the pigment color. And I'm just letting the pigment kind of go to model and go through the different flowers. When I do this smaller flower, you'll really be able to get a good idea of this effect that I'm going to be using. Here where it touches this in a minute, it's going to just kind of like bloom right there. See how it kind of like blooms in and the colors kind of come together and flow between the flowers. I really like this technique, and I'm going to fussy cut these, so if it got out of the lines a little bit, it didn't matter, but really the color won't move beyond where your water is. So as long as you put your water down and you keep the water within your watercolor lines, it's really kind of neat how it works. So now I have these flowers watercolored, and now I'm going to hit it with some salt. So you'll see, I'll show you the bottle here in a second. This is just kosher salt, so it's a little bit of a thicker, it has bigger grains of salt. It's not really, really big, but it's pretty big. So I'm going to do 5 of each of the flowers. And now here you can see them all done. So that's what the salt did. See, those are the salted ones, where you put the salt down and then completely let them dry. And then these other ones are just watercolor without the salt. It gives them a really neat kind of look. And now I'm going to create some banners. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut 2 strips of each of these or 3 strips of each of the colors of paper that I've chosen, the pink, the orange, and the blue. And I'm going to vary the width, so they're not going to be all exactly the same width wide. And eventually what I'm going to do is turn these into banners. This paper I'd cut crooked accidentally when I took off the strip at the bottom. So off to the left you can see there are my 6 pieces of paper that I'm going to use as banners, and now I'm going to take the leftovers from each of these, and I'm really going to use up those scraps and mat my photos. So these are going to be messy mats because they really just are the scraps from those banner pieces that I cut, and I'm just using them and making them stretch across all 3 of my photos. And two things, something I forgot to mention quick is when I fussy cut those flowers, the color you see on the leaves, that is not watercolor. What I did was I went through in after they had completely dried, and I colored the leaves with my Twisted Citron Distress markers. I needed something with a little more control to be able to get the leaves the right color, and so that I could fussy cut them, and I didn't want green to mix in with my watercolors. So that's what you see there on the green of the leaves. Another thing I'd like to mention is that Color Me Happy snippet that I got as an add-on to my Click Kit. I was so impressed with that pack. There is so many cut aparts in that sheet. I cannot even tell you how many there are. So now I have fishtailed all of my banners, and I'm just trimming off the excess of the ends, and I staggered them. So I cut a fishtail at the end of each of the banner pieces, and then I staggered them and layered them all together, and I inked them using my Distress ink in Vintage Photo. And next thing I'm going to work on is my photo placement. So here, this is just me hitting the edges with the Vintage Photo Distress ink to kind of warm up the edges, and if there was any kind of fuzzy cut marks or anything from where I trimmed them off. I think it kind of just makes for a really kind of smoother page. So now I'm going to work on my photos. My only concern with these photos were I wanted to make sure that you could definitely tell that there were like 3 areas. So you'll see me kind of trim them up, and the one photo that is vertical, I didn't mind so much if it covered the banner, above it or below it, but the other 2, I wanted there to be a nice little white break in between the middle banner piece and the banner piece that those photos sat on. So I'm just going to go ahead and attach these down, and then I'll get to work kind of embellishing and putting my layout together. And I'll tell you a little bit about these pictures. These pictures are of, while I place my flowers here, these pictures are of my son. It is my oldest son. He is way taller than me, as you can tell in the photos. And he has autism, so it's very, very hard to get a lot of photos of him. If you have any kind of experience with children with autism, they don't like to look at cameras. But my husband was, I was super excited. My husband was able to get these kind of 3 pictures of us like kind of messing around because he's so tall, and him looking at me. So I was really, really excited and happy to get these photos. And in the photos, both of us, my son and I, were both wearing these like bright red clothes. Oh my goodness, bright red. So I turned them black and white, and so that I had them, and I could use whatever colors I wanted. And so my title is just going to be almost like I'm talking to him. So my title for this layout is going to be "You Are Amazing," and then on the 3rd banner, I'm going to use some cut apart sheets, and I'm going to put "Remember That." And I chose to use, the kit came with some fancy pants letters that were this really bright, bright pink, and so I chose some alternate letters in gold and cream for the layout because I thought that they went better with those Cocoa Vanilla Studios papers and embellishments, and I didn't want to pull in that bright eggplant pink. I really like these sherbety colors I had going on. So the rest of this video and what you're going to watch me do now is go through these die cuts and pick the ones I want to use and work on my title and embellishing. And while I do that, I would like to just give a shout out to all of my new subscribers. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you enjoy my videos, and please feel free to leave me any kind of comments. I always love to hear from all of you, not just my new subscribers, but those that have been subscribing to me since I started my channel in January. I hope that as you've watched my videos, you can see I've really worked hard to make them good videos, good content, good editing. things like that. So I hope you have enjoyed them all, and I love to hear all of your comments and what you think of my layouts. I always try to reply to all of them when I see the comments. And I also wanted to let you know that if you go down and look in the comments on this video, you can find a link to my blog. And if any of you are mothers of boys, so I am a mother of boys. This is my oldest son. I have a younger son. Even our dogs are boys. I have a part of the blog hop for Click Kits. I wrote a little article with 3 layouts, this one and 2 others, describing some tips and tricks and things you can do when you do get a kit like this one that is kind of pink and flowery and a little girly, and you scrapbook all boys. So I have some really good tips and ideas and tricks in that blog. And I hope you can find, maybe check that out and find some information and good ideas for scrapbooking the boys in your life. And I hope that I am able to give you some inspiration when I do that. So if you have any questions, or if there's anything you ever want to see, if you want me to see me tackle a challenge or anything that you find challenging with scrapbooking your boys, please leave a comment below. I know there's been a lot of talk on different message boards about different lines and how kind of feminine they are, and things we can do to scrapbook with the boys in our life. So I hope you've really enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a lovely day. I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.